Can you hear me? All right. Thank you all for sticking around to hear part of my story. I'm very honored to be asked to speak today, but it is difficult for me to tell my story without speaking about those that came before me. So I would like to first start by talking about my firecracker Filipino mama. Let's give a big round of applause to my mother, Maria Lourdes. My mother emigrated to the United States from the Philippines as a middle school student. She worked on a farm in the Tri-Cities, Washington, and became the first female in our family to get a college degree. In a STEM field, no less. Big round of applause. One more for my mama. So she spent her career in the healthcare industry and recently retired to spend time with my father, who's currently battling cancer. My dad, also proud to be here today. He grew up poor in Tennessee. He faced incredible odds, surrounded by substance abuse, high mobility. But through positive relationships with teachers, he was able to beat the odds. He had a successful blue-collar career, and he provided the stable family home that he never had growing up. So I want to also say thank you to my father. Big round of applause for Kenny Lewis.
Thank you, Nikki.
And so when I take a look at my past, my family, I draw on my parents' strength. I think about the positive influence that education had on their lives and for us children. And I was inspired to make a difference through education. So I've served for over a decade as a public education teacher so that I can make a difference for our children. For my 7-year-old daughter, Flora, who has decided that she's going to run for President of the United States of America. Vote for Flora 2048. Hopefully she won't be the first female president, but she's on track. She's doing a great job already. So I am honored to be a part of today's Women's Wave because all across the country, all across the world, women are coming together to rise, to organize, to roar. We can do this. And I am so proud of us, not just for the blue wave that we saw this fall, but for the wave of teacher strikes across our state. Let's hear it for the teachers.
Yeah, baby.
It gives me a few questions though. Why did it take so long for our state to invest in our schools, to invest in our children? Why did the teachers have to strike to get paid? These people, these teachers, sometimes spend more time per day with our children than we do. Why are districts talking about unnecessary rifts or teacher layoffs when they could reprioritize teacher salaries over corporate curriculum, high-stakes testing? To me and to many of my colleagues, it speaks to the consistent and deep-seated disrespect for the education field. Why do we disrespect our educators? Is it because it's considered women's work? When you look at elementary and middle school teachers, it's 80% female. Where are the men in education? You know where they're at? They're at the top tiers. They're in the higher paid leadership positions. Superintendents are the only demographic that's predominantly male in the education field. The roles that make 400% more than a starting teacher's salary. What does that say about power dynamics in our society? And the fact that 90% of teachers are white, what does that say about authority in our communities? And so that brings me to my story. What do I do? What's my role as a public school teacher? For me, it's not just about teaching academics, the reading, writing, and arithmetic. For me, of course I have another sign, education is to empower our students of all races, all cultures, all religions, all identities. We need to respect our children. My job is to disrupt the school to prison pipeline We need to give our kids the social emotional skills they need to succeed. My job as a public school teacher is to improve school safety, to prevent bullying, harassment, school shootings. This is every day. We had a lockdown drill the other day and students are crying in the classrooms. They're traumatized by these drills. They're scared of school shootings. And so when I think, what is my job as a public school teacher? It's also to listen to the stories of my students. What is happening to them outside of the classroom? I hear stories of abuse, neglect, substance abuse in the home, parents who are incarcerated, mental illness, witnessing domestic violence against their mothers. Students can't leave that at the door. They bring that into the classroom with them. I have first grade students who have difficulty learning to read because they're more worried about abuse at home. I have 6-year-old girls who don't care about math when they're contemplating suicide. These are not the stories I want to hear year after year in the classroom, but I do. That's my role as a public school teacher, to be there for these kids. But it's not a classroom issue. This is not something teachers can do alone. These are society issues. We need to protect our girls from sexual abuse. We need to protect our young women from domestic violence. We need to support women in the workplace. I'm here today because I believe something must be done. I'm guessing that you're here today too because you believe something can be done. And when I look out across the whole stream of marchers today, it was great because we are strong, we are capable, we can make the change we want to see in the world. So I have a question. Can you help me say it? Help me say this. Let's rise! Rise! It's time to organize! Organize! Let me hear you roar! Roar! Thank you.